Be talking something, yeah, something very, very related to education, which is nothing but methods of teaching. And this is something I think in education, every faculty would have been interested, or at some point of time you would have taken this up, and definitely as a part of your undergraduation program, and when you are done your B.Ed, definitely this would have been something. I think pedagogy is something I think all of us are very, very familiar. Yeah. Yep. So when we are, let's just very briefly go through what are the different methods, the innovative method, the so-called, the present era methods that we call. We know that post-COVID, all of us are used to this modern methods of teaching. Earlier, definitely, many of us used to be more of a traditional teachers, and traditional method of teaching was adopted by many of us. And I think COVID forced us, and even now you can see the FDP that you people are doing. We were more fortunate, I consider that way. Nandan Swami sir was there with us when we used to be there and looking at the nature of Kukrali, and I have attended sessions there. And that used to be more, I find that is more interesting. But even though this is time saving and more economical also, I consider. So let us just very quickly go through what exactly are the different methods that are available to us, and how many of us are really practicing. Knowingly, unknowingly also you might have practiced these methods. Okay, so anywhere, any point of time, anyone of you wants to stop me, you are free to do that. And you can ask questions by raising your hand, or you can stop me also in between. So let us just find out what is the difference between teaching and when it is called as a pedagogy. Now we have started using the word pedagogy than calling it as methods of teaching, but since it was asked, I kept the title like that itself. So what exactly is pedagogy? Anybody in the group? I know it's very simple one because all of you are from education background. Anybody would like to respond? What exactly is the pedagogy?
Lead the baby.
Sir?
Lead the baby.
Lead the baby. Okay. Lead the children, young children will take it. Okay. So it is an approach to teach where it is specifically meant for the children, where we call it as pedagogy. So, okay. And this is definitely trying to look into the other aspects, social, political, and psychological development of the learners when we are talking about the pedagogy. Okay, then there are two more words that are there with us. You can see on your screen now. One is heterogogy, another is andragogy, then one is pedagogy. Okay, so pedagogy is what sir said, Devraj sir, that it is more of a teacher-led. Okay, there is a teacher to guide. So if you take to the present times where constructivism is being practiced everywhere as an approach, so you can see that it is more of a facilitator. Teacher is a facilitator. Teacher is trying to do a hand-holding. Gone are the days when I said that people used to call themselves as, I am the boss of the class. No, you are not anymore. Okay, we are not. We are only walking beside our students now, hand-holding them, and it is more like a puzzle. They come with a lot of experience. Okay, and that experience has to be taken into refitting the puzzle that is there by doing the simple hand-holding that is there. So zone of proximal development, ZPD, Vygotsky's, I think many of you must be familiar with that, where the more knowledgeable other is the teacher, and where you do the hand holding, or also called as scaffolding in the part of comes as a pedagogy. Then we go to andragogy. It is to the adult learner. Okay, it is also self-directed, where there is a lot of independent learning is happening, but it is instructor, still it is an instructor guided. There is an instructor required for that. Then next comes the heterogogy. Maybe probably what you people are doing now. You are self-determined. You are able to solve the problems that you come across. You are able to self-adjust and do the learning as per your need. And that is called as heterogogy, and it is morely for the adults. Okay. And then there are different terms within the same. Just 1 second. Sir, I am in a session. I'll call you back. I'll call you back, sir. I'm in a session. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So in relation to this pedagogy, andragogy, and heterogogy, when you come to the methods of teaching, there are few terminologies that we should understand before we move on. So can any of you try and reflect on these things? What is the difference between a teaching approach, teaching method, teaching strategy, and a teaching technique? Are there any differences? Anybody in the group? Okay, let us
Technique is a way of presenting the thoughts.
Rajkumar sir, yeah, please come again.
Madam, technique is a way where we used to present the thoughts or ideas of a content.
Yeah.
Where we can use a particular tool or instrument. We have proper methodology. We have proper principles to follow.
Okay. So
whereas method is also same way. Where too also it is based on purely teacher centered, as you said.
Yeah.
So to overcome these approaches identified, it is going near to the child, not physically, but the content which we wish to convey, it should be taught or make the learner to understand.
Rajkumar sir, just 1 second, please. Others mute, kindly mute. Sujatha madam, kindly mute. Sujatha R, madam, please mute. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, sir, go ahead.
Approach is literal, technically or etymologically speaking, it is going near to the learner. Physically, of course, at the same time, the content which is to be taught should be conveyed to the learner by involving himself or herself in the thought process.
Okay, thank you, sir. Somewhere we have been near, but teaching approach is a broader umbrella. Okay, which consists of your various others, that is teaching method, strategy, and technique. All of them are there within a teaching approach. For example, if you take an constructivist method of teaching, if you take, it is actually an approach, but we have been interchangeably using words as it is being called as method or a technique or a strategy, but it is an approach which is a broader one, which encompasses a method or a strategy or a technique within that. You can see a method usually has got child-centered or teacher-centered methods that are there. And then you have a strategy that you adopt for these approaches or methods. And what are there? You take up a small group discussion. In that, it can be cooperative learning groups. You can formulate a small cooperative learning group for collaboration. Okay. Then there is a technique where you have got pair work discussions within that. Within that, if you have within a, let us take a cooperative learning strategy, and within that you have a think, pair, and share group. There will be two children where you pair up based on their abilities, and you give them certain material for understanding, and there they are able to sit and discuss. So teaching approach is little broader. Within that you get a teaching method, then you pass on to a teaching strategy to a teaching technique, which is going to be more specific. Okay. So there are different modern methods of teaching that are there, and they are inquiry based, problem based, there are numerous on. Okay, I'll restrict myself. I have not brought out many. Inquiry based learning, problem based learning, competency based learning is now we are talking about, if you talk about the NEP 2020 and National Curriculum for School Education of NCERT, very clearly talking about competency-based learning as well as teaching as well as evaluation. So we have to now shift ourselves to find out the competency of each child accordingly, and accordingly assessment also should be done. Other methods have been there, project-based learning, collaborative learning, these have been there in the system and many of us have been using them. But competency-based learning, even though it has been talked about since a long time, but now there is much focus regarding the competencies of the individual. From those competencies, we are moving towards the learning outcome. Okay, if there is a competency, accordingly those competencies must be assessed, and accordingly the learning outcome must be achieved, which is very clearly spoken in the National Curriculum Framework for School Education. Okay, so these are the specific methods that I have chosen: flipped classroom, project-based learning, gamification or game-based learning method, technology-based learning methods, differentiated instruction method, personalized, cooperative, and experiential. And experiential also is gaining now a lot of momentum because there is something in black and white that NEP has talked about experiential learning method to be given a lot of importance in the secondary school education. So experiential learning, a lot of training programs are going around now because NEP has talked about it and a lot of people are working, even though Kolb talked about experiential learning long ago. So we'll come to flipped classroom. Anybody who can tell me, because flipped classroom has gained momentum post-COVID or during COVID, we can say, what is flipped classroom? Anybody in the group? Flipped classroom is a very, very interesting class. If you take the terminology flip, what does it mean? Flip. Anybody would like to just guess how it can be applied to the classroom? Flipped classroom. When you say you flip a coin, right?
Ma'am, can it be
toss? When you toss a coin, it flips.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, ma'am.
Ruchi? Yeah, Ruchi is making an attempt. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, it is like the student also gets to play the role of a teacher or to, lead the learning process. And this might have peer learning aspects also into it.
Okay, I'll pick the other second part of what Ruchi has told. She said that student will be taking the role of a teacher, not just role of a teacher. It is more about the child's learning process, Ruchi. Okay, I'll take on the child's learning process.
Madam, it's a methodology helps in the teachers variety activities.
Who is speaking? I would like to know then. Yeah. Is it Deepak? Deepak, sir? Yeah. Who is speaking? Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Madam, it's help teachers to prioritize activity in the learning process.
Sir, who is speaking? Kavya Kishore?
Yes, madam.
Yes. Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir. Yeah. Sir, go ahead. Kavya Kishore, sir.
Madam, it's a prioritized active, whereas the learners has to be including in the teaching learning process, assigning the students, and whereas the lectures materials has to be presented.
Yeah, correct. What happens in exactly a flipped classroom is you reverse the classroom itself. What exactly happens in our regular classrooms is we are teaching inside the classroom and sharing our content, and the teaching learning process goes on. Okay. So what Kavya Kishore sir said is, what we do is we give them certain content, or we call it as resources, well in hand. What is the advantage when you give content in advance? What is the advantage? When content is already given to children to carry home, for example, you may give them certain handouts.
Themselves, they will prepare themselves. They will prepare in advance.
They will make an attempt to go through the content. They will have their own perception, their own understanding of the content. One more is pace of learning. Okay. Each one's pace of learning based on the individual differences would be differing. So what they would definitely do is go back, sit in their own pace, go through the content material, and it can be anything. You could have given them a video. Okay. What we could do is we can give them some handouts or the resources that are prepared by the teacher. Directly do not give them content if it is for the school level. Do not give the content directly to children from the textbook itself. Okay, that is a big disadvantage because there may be many content that is requiring to go beyond a textbook, which a child on his own may not be able to do. Not all children. Okay, 90% of the children may not be able to go beyond the textbook. So what is best would be the teacher should be able to locate a resource. For example, he may be able to find a video that is most suited, can be taken up for a discussion. and that video can be given. Social scientific issues and another one, which is we are talking about critical scientific literacy development among children. Okay, in such issues, what happens? It can be cut across many areas. For example, use of pesticide. Let us say use of pesticide is one topic where you are trying to create awareness among children. Okay, but if you generate a discussion in the class, will it be possible to cover the content as well as take up discussion? It would be more time consuming. Then the flipped classroom comes into use, where children would have already made points regarding what exactly is the problem, how I can address the problem, and then come back to the classroom. Then you probably may divide them into smaller groups, which is a cooperative learning groups, and ask them to discuss among themselves what they have already written as points at home. Then you can generate that group discussion, and then in the end, you can bring about certain points at the end and makes children to summarize. And that discussion can be done within the classroom within the time limit of 45 minutes or 35 minutes, whatever is the school time limit. And this helps for the maximum participation from the children, because they would have learned whatever you wanted within the time frame that you wanted them to go through the content. Okay, that is the biggest advantage of flipped classroom, where you want to generate a lot of discussion and also want to know what are the views of the children. Okay. Then the next one is project-based learning method. This is all known to most of you, and many of you must have also told students how to use this project-based learning, where it is trying to solve the real-world problems. For example, let us take within Mysore or within your own campus, wherever institutions are there, why certain flora or fauna, why certain kinds of plants grow here. See, this is a real world problem that you are talking about. And children have to probably find out why certain kinds of plants exist in certain part of their campus. And you can give them 2 days time to find out the background. You may can, given a problem, they have to prepare an hypothesis for this. They have to say why it might be. Then go and find out the cause for that. And this develops critical thinking and problem solving skills among children. And this cannot be given individually. It is a teamwork, and there has to be collaboration among, and the work has to be divided among children. You only allow them to make groups, and they have to assign the task accordingly. And this again helps for the peer learning. So if you see that, now NCERT and CBSE is very soon going to come out with holistic progress card. So all of us, you must be aware, National Curriculum Framework Secondary Education talks about holistic progress card, which is continuous and comprehensive evaluation CCE that we had, and how we have moved on. Now we are going to move from the continuous comprehensive evaluation to holistic progress card, where everybody is going to be a partner in learning. Peer group, the peer assessment is there. That means the child's peer is going to assess, the child himself is going to assess, parent is going to be part of the assessment, and the teacher. And twice in a term, they are going to be assessed. It's very beautifully visualized, but let us see how far it is going to be successful when it comes to the ground root level. So such projects, such activities are going to be assessed through the holistic progress card. Next is the favorite among children, you can say, and maybe the younger generation is also into it, gamification, learning through the simulation. And we all learned simulation in a real life situation, not over the internet or the use of the different devices that are there. And this is where we are talking about our simulated teaching, where all of us learned our skills and improved our skills. And here they talk about involving games or simulation they are talking about simulation even at the postgraduate level or undergraduate level, where they are talking even medical sciences, they are talking of replacing robotics is going to come, and where they are very soon saying that AI is going to replace many of us. I do not know the reality, but hope that doesn't will not happen in future, because AI cannot be completely take a charge of a teacher. So, but definitely an interactive or a games or a simulation is something the present generation is attracted to, where they learn better when there are interactive tools. Game-based learning has always been popular among children. Now that it's the internet or a era of devices, probably that is going to help them in a better way. They are going to be engaged, motivation and learning. But biggest disadvantage what we see, the screen time. That screen time that we are giving is maximum now. You go anywhere and you find that everything, they play games at home. Again, it's a game that they play, whether it is a mobile or you have a PlayStations, all that. So we have to take care that minimal utilization must be made. And if the content dictates only these gamification, it should not be like we go and we ask our students that integrate ICT. How do you integrate ICT in the classroom? When internship happens, many of your students also would be doing 1 or 2 lessons where there is a mandatory ICT integration. Have you had any experience of this kind where your students had forcibly made an ICT integration? Is there any example?
Yes, madam. There are a number of examples are there, madam, especially in teacher education in B.Ed and
Yes,
M.Ed,
sir. Yes, sir.
M.Ed courses.
Yeah.
There is a compulsory for integrated lesson.
Yeah.
Some students, they experience in their previous course, but some students are very sorry to say that when they join the B.Ed course, even some of them are, they not have an email ID also, that is. So many examples are there. And they get benefit from these integrated lessons.
No, but I'm asking, that is nice, sir. But what I'm asking is, there must be numerous example where you have felt that ICT has been forcefully integrated. Because why I say that forceful integration, I'll give you an example.
Especially for in, sorry, madam, interpretation. During Corona period, not only the trainees, among the faculties, so some of the faculties, they don't want to use the technology-based learning, TBL, but they are helpless. So without knowing or unknowing, they must use they follow these integrated ICT in their regular classroom, especially in the online classes. But now they are become very expert, especially compared to the science and the social science. Language teachers they are using very beautifully and tremendously these technology-based learning method in their language classes. So we are happy for that one.
No, that's a wonderful one. Well, I would like to take few examples here, then come back to what sir said, where actually it is, if you are using where there is a need, fine. Okay, ICT must be used where it is required. For example, since I'm a science person, I would take few examples from science only and explain to you. Simple, we'll go to 6th standard. We have an NCERT textbook where it talks about parts of plants. Okay, it talks about simple parts of plants. So what is expected out of a child when he, student teacher, when he goes for internship, it would be that he would bring plants to the classroom. That is what, as an observer, my least expectation is to explain a shoot, stem, root, node, internode. This is what I expect. One of the most able student in my class came out and he said that, madam, it is an ICT integrated class. And I was very keen to know what will be ICT integration in teaching parts of a plant. What he did was, he took photograph of each part of the plant and then he made a PPT out of that. And he showed stem, he showed root, he showed shoot, he showed leaf, he showed node, internode. Then I told him at the end of the class, this is the best example of how ICT should not be used. Because what we talk about is 2 kinds of experiences, direct and indirect experiences when we are teaching. Indirect experiences are those experiences that we cannot bring inside the classroom. For example, launching of a satellite. I cannot bring that inside a classroom. I can make a model, but I cannot show how it is satellite is launched. For those instances, what we do, we show a video of how a satellite works or how it is launched. That is an indirect experience that cannot be brought inside a classroom. Direct experiences is this example that I was trying to tell you, where you can bring specimen inside a classroom and show to children, and each one of them should be able to feel them, able to see, not that a child doesn't know what a plant is, but when you ask him to look it from your perspective of differentiating it into vegetative part and a reproductive part, then child doesn't know that it is not that child doesn't know there is a flower. Child knows flower, child knows root, child knows shoot, but he will not be able to classify it unless you tell them this is called as a productive part and this is called as vegetative part. That is what I am talking about. Direct and indirect experiences. Only for indirect experiences we must be able to bring as many ICT as possible, but not for direct experience. Do not replace direct experiences by bringing forcible ICT integration. Kavakishore sir, that is what I meant here. Okay, but very beautifully, many of our younger generation children are beautifully utilizing ICT integration and making class very interesting. Okay, but it must be culture specific. It must be age specific, whatever content we are bringing inside a classroom, because many of the time, if it is not culture specific, the language that is being used may not be familiar for children. If you go for certain Western country prepared, even though the video is very good, but when it comes to language, the children may not be very familiar with the language. Yeah.
Madam,
Sir.
one more information, madam, that helps.
Yes, sir.
The same thing will happen in the structure of a typical flower, hibiscus.
Yes,
so
sir.
Here, what my opinion is, ICT is required, technology-based learning is required. But as you say that we should not force them in all the concept for all the topic, we have to use the technology.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the students will not get the first-hand experience. Of course, as a biology teacher, biology learner, it's not possible because while teaching the organic evolution, the fossils, archaeopteryx, it's not possible to
that you cannot. The content decides there, sir. Content decides there.
Content.
Correct.
So whenever it is necessary, and when it is possible. And another one thing, now just recently UGC also mentioned that only using the PPT is not a technology based learning. Some
Correct.
people are assume that yes, I'm using the PPT means I'm using all the e-resources, e-tools.
Exactly.
So that we must know that as a teacher educator or a teacher learner.
Yeah, there are a lot of open e-resources that are available to us, but we should be able to decide, because for that, what teachers should do is we should prepare well in hand what content, because I should watch the video first, whether it suits to the need of my students inside the classroom. That must be seen. If you don't do that, then there is no meaning at all. Okay, then next comes similar to that, technology-based learning, where we are doing this online part of it. So many of you are sitting across this country and being part of this, and we must be thankful to University of Mysore for allowing this program to go online, because being at the comfort of your office or home, you are able to attend this. So go online, virtual. Blended learning, another one, very interesting one. What is blended learning? It is also very, very popular now, blended learning. What is blended learning? Something that uses even your game-based learning within that blended learning. Anybody?
Madam, combination of technology and face-to-face teaching is called blended learning.
Yeah, it is both online and offline, face-to-face mode as well as online. Thank you, ma'am. So where this is, many of the universities have adopted, and many other institutions where online courses are there, where they require the presence of individuals is required, then they come. We have one where, but we do not have it as a blended learning, where we can, we don't go online. We have at NCRT, we have Diploma in Guidance and Counseling, and we have it as face-to-face mode, as well as it is correspondence, you can say, where we send them material, they have to study at their own, and then come back here for certain practicum, the issues that are there, and we allow them to go for the practicum aspect. But blended learning is where we are going. For certain content, there is online, and there is need for being offline or face-to-face mode. Okay. 1 second.
Madam, just I will
Yeah.
add one word in the blended learning and technology.
Ramesh sir, yes sir, go ahead sir.
It is the you are explaining the children's how the learning. I will just add one word: Google Lens. So if
Yeah.
you just use of the Google
Another
Lens,
disaster in the making, sir. Okay, tell sir.
Google Lens. Just I practically do that. If I just show the one leaf to the using the Google Lens, the children is very happy. The lens, which one is the leaf, which how it is work, what is the theme. So this is the one of the practical and best experience to the students to using the Google Lens, madam.
Yeah, Google it is expanding and making it very, very friendly, and it is also helping children. But also how, see, what happens is this technology is something that how children use and misuse. And this is something I did not know about. Okay, recently one of my students told that, ma'am, scan this with Google Lens, and within minutes you will get solution to everything. And I was shocked. So this is how students start making misuse, but that is for good use when Ramesh sir has given us an example where this can be taken up. Okay, so thank you, sir. One more is differentiated instruction method. Okay, what is this differentiated instruction method? Differentiated instruction method.
So we have to use the different learning in different approaches, methods in the teaching learning process with reference to the
It
tools,
is something
madam.
very, yes, sir.
With reference to the
Kishore,
tools.
sir, something related to your individual differences to
Yes.
differentiated instruction.
Yes, yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Related terminologies. One can go, so you people can see there. Each one of us have different ways in which we learn. Okay, we have got different learning styles. Each one of us are very, very different. Okay, and we learn, some of us learn when there are, we learn better when there are lots of hands-on activities. Some of us learn when there is a good number of visual aids. When present generation is more into technology, if at all you are using more of an ICT, they feel the class is very, very interesting. And if all of them, if a teacher can incorporate all this based on the different learning styles of children, and this helps for engaging students very, very effectively. Because you have to keep, see, when you say experiential learning, there must be a lot of hands-on activities. And if you do not keep that, the present generation is very, very restless because they have a lot of stored up energy. Why stored up energy? Because the games is online. They engage everything online. Whatever energy they have, they don't go out in the real world and play. And that has to be now a big challenge for the children, how teacher, that how I engage my children. Okay. Then personalized learning method. This has been again into the similar way where each, depending on each one's pace of learning, each one, either you have any technology that is there, and providing opportunity to each learner to go at his own pace, individualized learning, that what we call, and focus on. For this, see, this also where we can bring in, I didn't want to bring evaluation part of it, but diagnostic evaluation, if it can be done here, this helps for the personalized learning method, where it increases the student engagement and also motivates students to find what exactly he stands. There are certain minimum levels of learning was there, if you people remember long back, where we talked that these are the levels of learning one must achieve. Now we have come to learning outcome. Now we are talking about competency and learning outcome. And these competencies, if they are achieved, this learning outcome must be achieved, very clearly spelled out by NCERT. For each classes, there are learning outcome which has already been given. And one has to look into where a child stands. In Karnataka, many of you who are from Karnataka, or even if you are not from Karnataka, you must be knowing there is a program which is going on, Nalikali. Okay, joyful learning. It is competency-based learning only. There is a learning outcome already there. And child knows where he stands. Child assesses himself. Okay, I have achieved this learning outcome. Okay, and now I need to move in the learning ladder, and accordingly the child assesses and child moves. And this happens with the cooperative group, where there may be a group of children sitting together who are there in the same ladder, and they all learn from each other, and the one who is more knowledgeable other among from them only learns and comes and teaches them. I'm not able to look into your messages. If you put messages, I do see that there is a sound, but I'm not able to look into them. If you have questions, please raise your hands, because I go to the box and come back, probably I'll not be able to look into the chat. Okay, then this is one method which is very popularly being used by many of the classroom practitioners now. Staying strong together, that is cooperative learning method. It's a very simple method of learning where participants or your learners are categorized into different smaller groups. When we talk about constructivist method of learning, somebody must have already talked. Have they talked on constructivist method of learning?
Yes,
The
ma'am.
constructivist approach?
Yes, madam.
Then
Yes,
you
ma'am.
people should be able to tell me what is cooperative learning then, because constructivist approach uses cooperative learning method. What is cooperative? I have put it already anyhow on the screen for you people.
The cooperative method. Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, yes, sir. Go ahead.
The method is that the cooperative, making the small groups to the students. Again, the communication skill will be developed. Next, especially in the cooperative learning method, students will learn how to cooperate to one to another, because different part of the students will come in the classroom activity. They will understand, and the wavelength will be different type of the students. They will understand. They will do the work with the group activity. The success rate will be more compared to single activity. In the cooperative method, the success rate is more in the activity.
Yeah. See, when we learn from our peer, we learn better. Rather than
Yes.
learning from teacher, that doesn't mean you are replacing a teacher here. This does not mean we'll replace a teacher. Teacher is there to guide you, to handhold you, scaffold you. Yeah. Anybody is responding? Yeah.
It is also called collaborative learning.
We'll come that is there, ma'am, but that is also a different one. Okay, there are different.
Madam, yes, madam.
Yeah.
Here in this method, cooperative learning, the learner will came to know about the coordination. What is the importance of each learner when they involve in the this teaching learning process? So
Yeah.
teacher will be say indirectly involved in this one, but observation is going on. And as you said that, madam, as a leader, it means the group leader. So they can share and care about each their teammates, and as well as there is no any strictly instruction that one you have to sit like this, you have to do like this. That a friendly environment will be there.
Yeah, sir. Along with that, Kavya Kishore sir, we have this. Okay, there are types. Okay, within that, Shalini madam spoke about collaborative. The learning is collaborative. Okay, but grouping is not. Collaborative grouping is different from your cooperative grouping. There are
Yes,
two
ma'am.
types. Okay, I talked earlier about think, pair, share, jigsaw puzzle, peer tutoring, group brainstorming. These are types of examples of how you can take cooperative learning method. Within that, these are different types of cooperative learning groups, how one can create a group. Within the jigsaw, if you take, for example, jigsaw is something where let us take, you have got 40 students in the class, you make 4 students groups. Okay. From that, you create a master group. Okay. All group 1. Now, children who are numbered 1 will go to one content, and they all will learn one content. Okay. Within the group only, again, all 1 will come together, learn about one content. All 2 will come together and learn about one more concept. 3, 4. Then they regroup, go back as 1, 2, 3, 4. And all 1, 2, 3, 4 would be expert there in that concept that they have already discussed. So that is a jigsaw puzzle there, where they group first, then they go become a master group, then come back to their original group and teach to the other classmates. So all 4 of them learn from each other. That is your jigsaw. Like that, there are different one. Think aloud, pair, and then debates, problem solving. Then there is one more which is called as think, pair, share, where two of them form a group, they discuss, and then they discuss it with the whole class. Okay, we'll go back to this. Cooperative learning group is very, very effective in the sense that it allows for every participant within the group to discuss, and you cannot make same kind of learner in one group. What I mean is based on their IQs. We cannot put them, children having the same kind of IQs. You have got average, above average learner, below average learner. If you put all average one, all above average one, all below average, then your group is not going to be successful. So as a teacher, we must know the ability of our learner in our classroom to make cooperative learning groups to be effective. If you do not, then your grouping will fail and also the learning process will not be effective. So one care must be taken whenever a cooperative learning method is adopted and grouping is adopted. You must divide group learners according to their abilities, and heterogeneous group must be created within the heterogeneous group that exists for us. Okay. Then this is one more experiential learning method. Now it has taken a lot of center stage now because NEP has very specifically talked about experiential learning. If NEP would not have talked, many would have still used it. But since it has talked, where you talk about experiential learning, anybody from our friends from the psychology or anybody with the educational psychology or used experiential learning any point of time, Kolb's cycle, I have put it there on your screen. You can see.
Yes, during the learning styles and the teaching styles, we use this concept, madam.
Yes, sir. Learning styles, he has again further divided.
Yes, sir.
During micro teaching,
During micro teaching, yes. What exactly happens?
simulated teaching.
Simulated, correct, ma'am. Simulated teaching. But what exactly is experiential learning there?
We are going to tell the various stages, how to elaborate the concept, how to follow the blackboard, how to use teaching learning material.
Madam, apply that to on your screen. You see on the your probably your right side.
Abstract, active, concrete, and reflective.
Yeah. Please,
Ma'am, may I?
Can you relate? Yeah. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Ma'am, experiential would be the COPS model that you have just put on the screen.
Yes, exactly.
The learner goes through the different stages of the cycle to experience what is being taught instead of just taking it as knowledge or information.
Okay.
And that experience added to the information creates, if I may in my psychological terminology, make better learning traces, which are better retrievable and also better applicable to real life situations. In the process, making learning engaging activity for the learner also.
Yeah. If you could put that into what Kolb says, Ruchi, I would be a little more happier than what you have said now.
Definitely, ma'am, I'll try.
Yeah.
Concrete, the 4 stages of COPS cycle. From the concrete stage, that is the object at hand or the stimulus at hand, the child moves through a reflective stage where he or she reflects on what is being offered in terms of the stimulus and looks into the abstract aspects of knowledge that are kind of dovetailed or combined with that stimulus that has been provided. And then through actively engaging with that stimuli or that information, the child not only understands the information at hand, but also may go a step ahead of relating it to real life and using it in problem solving in real.
Yeah, thank you, Ruchi. What I would say here is one goes from the theory. Okay, you have a theory. Take that theory and see the observation part of it, which Shalini madam was talking about, the simulation part of it, the simulated teaching part. Then you go to the abstract conceptualization, then actively experimenting it. So it is something like all of us have gone through these experiences. Let us take when you learn to drive a car or a two-wheeler, what do we do? You know the theory?
Yes, that's trial and error and even best example is even previous session also I give the same example, madam. Sorry to
Yes, sir.
repeating
No
this.
problem. No problem. Go
Tenali
ahead.
Ramakrishna's cat, Tenali Ramakrishna ಬೆಕ್ಕು
Exactly,
ಆ
exactly.
ಆ
Okay,
ಒಂದು
good, good.
ಅನುಭವ
Nice.
ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬರೋವರೆಗೂ
ಹಾ.
ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಲಿಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ.
ಹಾ, sir.
ಈಗ ನೀವು ಸ್ವಿಮ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರಿ. ನಮ್ ಕಡೆ ಊರ್ ಕಡೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸ್ವಿಮ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ಪೂಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಲ್ಸಲ್ಲ. ಸ್ವಿಮ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ಪೂಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 2 ಅಡಿ 3 ಅಡಿ ಸ್ವಿಮ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ಕಲ್ಸಲ್ಲ. ದೊಡ್ಡ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಬಾವಿ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕಟ್ಟೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಇಳಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹಿಂದ್ಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ಒದ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬಿದ್ದಾಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಬದುಕಬೇಕನ್ನೋ ಹೋರಾಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ ಸ್ವಿಮ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ಕಲಿತೇನೆ.
Each one of us would like, because we have that inner instinct within it, because they say that even if you put a baby 6 months to 1 year old child in the water, the baby tries to float by making movements. That is active experimentation, but concrete experience would not have still happened there. Abstract conceptualization also would not happen. You are going directly for active experimentation there. Based on this, Kolb also has given learning styles, which we will not get into that, because Kolb's, if you want to discuss, that will take actually 1 hour. If you want to exactly get into all details. So what this says is, within the experiential learning, what they say that as many as field experience, if you are able to give, concretization happens. For example, field trips, taking children to different maybe museums, rather than showing them. See, we said that, see, bring the plant inside the classroom. If you cannot bring something inside, what sir said is evolution. Sir took a very simple example of evolution, but there can be something related to evolution in the museum, which you cannot bring it to the classroom. Take them to the museum. It's a more of a experience that you are, where the learning styles gets affected. Okay, so here the problem solving and critical thinking are the skills. The skills that we are talking, all the life skills or 21st century skills that we talk about, all of them slowly start reflecting here. So critical thinking is something we have been time and again talking about, problem solving skill and critical thinking skill, which are again supported by the other skills that are there. And life skill is something, I hope there is a session on life skill. I feel that everywhere there must be one session on life skill, because most needed at the present era, and a generation of our students require this. Yes, sir, you are saying something.
One more best example, madam, simple, even for a physics teacher, biology teacher and geography teacher. ಈ ಬಯಲ್ಸೀಮೋರ್ಗೆ ಪಾಪ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಟಾಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಅವ್ರು ಸಮುದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಸಮುದ್ರ ನೋಡಿರಲ್ಲ. when we along with the students, when visit the seashores, so the expression of that learners about first visiting that experience learning, because before that they are just
concretization happens with active experiment.
ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಸಮುದ್ರ ಎಷ್ಟು ವಿಶಾಲ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕನ್ನಡ ಟೀಚರ್, ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಟೀಚರ್ 2 ಕೈ ಮಾಡಿ ತೋರಿಸಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದನ್ನೇ ನಂಬ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಅಷ್ಟು ಮುಗ್ಧತೆಯಿಂದ. But when they visit the seashores and all those things, so that experience is there. I think that comes in the concrete experiences of
experiences are happening there. So what sir said, for other people who do not have the language barrier here as a Kannada, I would like to take that. So when I took my child also, not only Bailsime antalla sir, when we take our own children who live in cities and not knowing, and my son asked, where is earth ending there? Because he was not able to see the end of the sea. And I said, no, you cannot see it there. So that is the experience. Suddenly they start seeing the concretization happens. Otherwise, theoretically, we may talk about many things. Okay, so experiential learning has taken a momentum now. A lot of research is also, I think, many of you
one joke is there related to experiential learning.
Tell madam.
ನಂದಿನಿ ಹಾಲು ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಹಾಲು ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ನಂದಿನಿ ಬೂತಿಂದ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸಿಟಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಹಸು ಕರು ಅವುಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಇರಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಇದೆ.
Correct. So if at all they find that if it is from there, definitely they will say that milk, where do you get? You get it from the milk booth. That's all. The origin is not known. So the theory behind that also must be told to children, I think. Okay, this is a formative assessment method, they are calling it, but this is one way where you are trying to find out immediately, where we say that quiz is conducted. 5E method or a constructivist method of teaching or approach of teaching is very beautiful because of this reason. where we have got, ongoing assessments, where you have quiz, exit ticket, self-reflection, where student progress is seen immediately, and you can provide feedback based on that. So formative assessment method, which must be incorporated within the teaching method that they are saying. Though this is not something new, so we'll not spend time on this. Then inquiry-based learning method. This is another one which is again incorporated within the umbrella of constructivist approach of teaching, where they say that allow children to question. There are different types of inquiry. Okay, we have structured inquiry, open inquiry, closed inquiry. We will not get into the different types of inquiry method of learning, but simple as that, if at all you provide tools to children. What exactly is inquiry-based learning? It is something related to where you inquire, you ask questions. We kill the creativity in children because we do not allow them to question. The classrooms are like that. We do not allow children to question, whereas human is born with curiosity. Human is born with the curiosity to ask questions. When did the curiosity die for all of us? How much time do I have?
When there is no chance to ask the questions.
Yeah. How much time do I have?
20
Madam,
minutes, ma'am.
15 minutes.
15 minutes more?
Yeah.
Yes, madam.
1-5?
Yes, madam. 1-5.
15. Okay. Then we need to conclude early. Yeah, our curiosity dies down when we enter a system, structured system. What is that structured, so-called structured system? Our schooling. Unfortunately, our schooling kills the curiosity in the child, and very unfortunate of the system. Where we are learning, we are going to learn something new with the curiosity, but we do not allow children to question. And because of not allowing to question, the inquiry-based learning has come. My justification to why we are pushing inquiry-based learning, because children have stopped questioning. And inquiry-based learning is as simple as that. You provide tools to children. Probably you bring in 2 plants. Please do not mind, because the examples will be from biology. So you bring in 2 plants and grown in different conditions. Okay, the conditions are not told to children, and you place in front of them, ask them to make an hypothesis and find a solution for that. Okay. What we do inside a laboratory is your structured inquiry learning that is happening. It is structured. Your hypothesis is already there. The procedure to do is there. And then one arrives at a solution. Whereas in open inquiry, this doesn't happen. You just provide tools. The tools here would be, you provide 2 or 3 kinds of plants which are grown under different conditions, and ask children, find out why this has happened, why this kind of growth has happened. Then they must be able to formulate a procedure, know what must have happened, know the role of water, sunlight, if it is so, and the amount of sunlight that is being provided. All this they will only formulate, and they will formulate hypothesis because of this assumption, this must have happened. And they come at conclusion and come and discuss the conclusion at the school. That is your inquiry-based learning. So they are able to make connection between what they have learned and what is the real world around them. Okay, and by exploring the given situation to them. Okay, culturally responsive learning. This is more about teaching culture specific. I told that also, that each individual varies from his backgrounds, experiences, their perspective. You cannot bring in something new to a child and put him in a new system and suddenly and ask him to learn. So it is like we displace a child from India, take them to US, and suddenly there is a cultural shock. One has to accordingly teach based on the background of the child. Okay, this is visual audio kinesthetic. All of you know about this VAC teaching. We call it as a VAC teaching, visual audio and kinesthetic learner, different kinds of learner, and they learn better when the different learners are given the cues depending on their learning styles. I'm just rushing through because, okay, what are the different techniques associated with these methods? Now we are done with methods. There may be many, you people can add. Okay, I have restricted myself depending on the time that is available to be. There are more than 15 of them. Okay, brainstorming, micro teaching, program learning, inquiry, mind map, cooperative, dramatization, media, That media that we involve is audio aids, visual aids, audio visual aids, interactive electronic whiteboard, M-learning, e-learning, all that we are doing now. What are the advantages of these modern teaching methods? They focus on the learner. They prioritize the students' needs
Basically,
and
it is a
their
student
thought
centric.
process. Yes, sir.
Basically, all these are student-centric methods.
Yes, they are student-centric methods. All the methods that I have told now are student-centric method. We are Pradeep sir, we have moved away now. We have moved away from the teacher-centric method. No more teacher-centric method, they say now. Because learner is a hero now. Gone are the days where we said that I am the hero, we were autocratic. We were not at all democratic because we used to think as a teacher that I am more knowledgeable. I know everything. But the situation has turned. It has flipped now. Learners know many things that we do not know. That's why we are walking beside them rather than walking ahead of them. That's why the methods are all learner-centric methods. Thank you. Then activity-based, all the methods that are there are encouraging that it must be activity-based or task-based. You give them small problems or challenging tasks for the children to complete within the given time limit. See, in Indian classroom, we have one disadvantage. We have heterogeneous classroom, right? And our classroom hours are fixed. If you take a 5E in a Western classroom, probably it would take 2 days to complete one content that is chosen because they go out, experiment, come back. Okay, those provisions are made. But we are trying to complete that 5E within 45 minutes. We are still successful. We should be able to pat our back, but we are still successful because at least we have moved away from being egoistic and telling that I know everything. We have moved away at least from that part and telling that yes, child also knows. And we are considering what child knows into consideration and then teaching. Then utilizing. Yes, sir.
Madam, because we are following the experiential learning, they are following experimental learning.
True.
And it's
But they are
continuing the
also
research
using
also.
experiential.
In
They
the
are
research,
using
yes, research also it's continuing that.
Yeah, research also a strong base of research is taking them little ahead. But when I talk to my own students who go there, they say that our system is always better, ma'am, because we are focusing more on the content and the depth of the content. That they say that Indian classrooms are better because heterogeneity is there. There is a lot of communication. There is a lot of socialization. The other aspects are given importance here. Okay, many of the resources that are available to us, see, unlike earlier times, I could always make an excuse as a classroom practitioner telling that I do not have a lab. I cannot conduct experiments. Now you cannot do that. You have online, you can go and experiments that are, you can do actual experiments there virtual. Okay. Amrita Vishwavidyalaya has created that and you have it available online. It is free of cost. So if a teacher or a practitioner is interested in showing all the experiments that are there, please visit and show them. You don't need any chemical. What you need is just one laptop. And if you are able to show, if not laptop, your mobiles are always there in handy. Smaller groups, show them, tell them the content, show them in each group. So it depends how you plan your content. So natural systems that are interactive and integrative are important here. So we are trying to bring in natural setting to the classroom. There are many methods of teaching that have been talked about where we go to the nature and come back and discuss what is there and relate. What used to happen was theory here and a practice there. So whatever we are exploring is nothing but a natural world, but we never brought the natural world into our classroom. So we have to now go into the natural world. Cross-group cooperation. This is something collaboration and cooperation that we talked about. So evaluation, I'll just skip the evaluation part because all of you well versed with norm reference, self-reference and criterion referenced evaluation. I'll just go, this is also known to you, formative evaluation, summative evaluation and diagnostic evaluation is known to all of you. Then assessment of learning, for learning and as learning. Now what is more important is assessment as learning. We all are doing assessment of learning, where we are also doing assessment for learning, then now a lot of importance given that examination stress should not be there. NCFSC also talks about, our Prime Minister talks about how to cure the stress that is there, but stress is required. If you want to crack any examination, complete any task, have stress, but do not have a stress that is there, which is a bad one. If you have some amount of stress, you will be able, positive stress we call it as, okay, you will be able to complete task. Okay. Then what are the diagnostics ones? Which journal entries, student entries, these are the ones where difficult areas would be able to be identified. Okay. Some examples for this: formative, summative, and that. This is one way they have started now, the new method of evaluation that is being taken up. At the end of a lesson, any lesson or any content that is being taken, you have to make students answer, which is there in 5E. The last part of 5E is that only. You have got evaluation at the last part of 5E, or the earlier lessons also had introduction, development, evaluation we had. The exit ticket we call that. This is a quick check of finding out whether students have attained. 1 minute papers. This is also very interesting one. Nowadays, many people are conducted. In 1 minute, we are going to summarize all the points, and students should reflect on what they have learned, what they have not learned. Okay. Then peer teaching and feedback, this we are utilizing. Concept map is another very beautiful tool. Every learner, every teacher must use concept map. Unfortunately, I have not made a concept map for my this session. I should have made one so that you would have known complete summarization of what one has talked about. So if your students are not using concept map, please ensure that concept map must be, because once you have a list of concepts, interlinking those concepts helps you to know where what concept is linked. So concept map is a very beautiful graphic design and helps for the summarization, helps for the evaluation. You can use beginning of lesson, during the lesson, or at the end of the lesson. Based on your need, you can change the concept map, and there are many online tools available for you to make concept maps also, but I advise make your own concept map. Then digital quiz and polls. This is also think, parents share, pose a question, give student time to think individually, and they will have their ideas and discuss, and they will share that before their partner and then to the whole class. So every child will be able to actively participate. Self-assessment and goal setting. This is something that has been talked about in holistic progress card of NCFSC, and where they say that self-assessment as well as peer assessment is important, and child must be able to set a goal for himself. Post students work around the classroom, gallery walks, new terminologies only, very interesting terminologies. Make the children walk around the classroom, and they have to review and provide feedback on what you have put there as your resources. Peer assessment and collaborative learning. Digital formative assessment tools are there. Kahoot, many of you must be using. Very, very interesting one. If you do this, all children will have participate in your class, provided each one has got some tool along with them or some device with them. Then student reflective journal. So you have to allot each students what they have learned. They must maintain a diary. Their challenges, what I could not. This is there in holistic progress card. What I could achieve, what I could not achieve, and where do I stand now. This gives for a reflection. So this is about today's class. Did I exceed my time?
No, madam.
Yeah. If at all you have any questions, please let me know.
Madam, even open book evaluation also,
Yes.
open book examination also comes under
Yes, sir.
new
Yes,
trends.
sir. You can use, because any new method of teaching, open book evaluation only challenge is that you must have covered all the content. Your learner must have learned that. If you have ensured that the learning would have happened, then only they will be able to do accordingly. Assess themselves. Peer assessment and self-assessment are the present era where we are talking that peer assessment, self-assessment. Self-assessment, if it has to happen, there must be a lot of reflection. So reflection doesn't happen, then learning also doesn't happen.
Okay.
Madam, can I ask one doubt?
Yeah, ma'am, please go ahead. Please
Ma'am,
let me know your name before you ask questions. I will
Shalini.
stop sharing so that I can see all of you. Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Dr. Shalini from Maitri B.Ed College, Shumaga.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, many times I have clarity, but how to convince others, for that I'm asking. Particularly related to remedial test,
Yes, ma'am.
related to diagnostic test, unit test, and action research. They are all related to
Sounding similar.
how we are going to conduct a test.
Okay.
In what way we are going to conduct a test and how we are using the results.
Yeah.
So that is a thing. But how to convince others based on these things only we can differentiate these things. Unit test is conducted after unit.
And that is simple achievement test, ma'am.
Diagnostic
Simple
test.
achievement test. That is simple
He
achievement test.
tested to know the strength and weakness, whereas action research is conducted as classroom problems. But still, many times these action research and diagnostic evaluation go together. We can't differentiate. So that is the doubt, ma'am.
See, diagnostic test, when you're talking about a particular content area, right? When you are talking, ma'am, you are talking about certain areas within the content, concepts. Okay, HOTS, what we talk about. Okay, that leads to a lot of abstracts. Okay, there are lots of abstract concepts, and for these abstract concepts, so for example, sir talked about evolution. Okay, now it has been taken out by NCERT textbook. It is not there. Those number, it doesn't. It is not there in 9th standard. Now Avogadro's number has been removed from NCERT textbook. But when children go to 11th standard, this definitely going to affect them. Because conceptually, what has to be understood at the 9th standard, when it comes to atomic mass, atomic structure, all those things, this concept should have reflected here. But it is not reflected. When they go there, definitely they are going to have a lot of difficulty related to Avogadro's number. And again, when it comes to calculations. There, when you conduct diagnostic test, you will be able to know where, in what concept there is an error, misconception that is happening for child. Accordingly, remedial is done. Okay, accordingly, remedial teaching is done. Then the achievement happens. The cyclic process goes on. Provided
action research, ma'am.
Action research is something that you are thinking as a practitioner. What are the issues that I need to address either from my teaching or for the students? That is your action research, not directly coming down to one particular content. You are talking about the classroom as a practitioner. What problems am I facing? It may be related to my teaching or the child's learning. You are trying to find out. Yeah. Any other questions?
Thank you, madam.
Yeah, there is time. Sir? Yeah. Any questions? No questions? Nanjan Sami, sir? If they have no question, because I am not able to somehow view the chart.
No
Yeah.
question, madam.
No question. No, thank you, sir. Sorry, I was talking about Nanjan Sami, sir of